most important ways are employment, family ties, residence, properties under your name, and so on and so forth. Family member, include the letter of invitation. Now, you might not need the letter of invitation if you're, I would say go ahead and make sure that it's at least valid for, a year. Oh, hey, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Canada.ca on my YouTube channel. And I decided to make this vlog after noticing a lot of people inquiring about this particular piece of information, and that is, should I want to visit Canada on a tourist visa or on a temporary visa? How do I go about visiting Canada as a temporary resident, or as a tourist, or as someone that would like to visit their family member, or just for a short-term visit? How do I go about doing that? There's a lot of information on this, but I decided to make one after helping one of my family members visit our family in Canada. So I decided to make a separate vlog on this topic, and I hope you find this vlog useful and insightful. So, the topic of today's vlog is how to go about applying to Canada for a short-term visit as a tourist, as someone who would like to visit their family member in Canada, or for a short-term, or for a compassionate visit. We will be viewing all of these things in this particular vlog. Now, I have opened my my laptop right here to sort of give you some of the notes that I have made as well. So the first thing that you need to do is go to the Canada.ca website, Canada.ca, and I'll put the link in the description as well. Just make sure to go to this website. There is you could start with it says visitor visa. You could start off with there's Canada.ca/immigration refugees website. You will notice that there is one of the links that I've posted in the description will take you directly to the Visit Canada for a short-term purpose link. Make sure to click on that link, and that will give you a list of all the documents and the processes and the different steps that you need to start doing, or that you need to start preparing before you apply for a visit visa to Canada. Now, this website, the Canada.ca website, the Government of Canada website, does a really good job of putting out the different things and the steps and the different documents that you need to prepare for your visit visa. So make sure to take your time to review this website. A lot of your basic questions will be answered on this particular website. So there are some basic documents, or some basic, I should say, requirements that you need to address before you apply for a visit visa in Canada. And some of those things, some of those points, I'm looking at my notes right now, are, first of all, you need a valid passport. Without a passport, you can't travel. So make sure your passport is valid, meaning it has at least more than 6 months of validity in terms of its expiration date. So make sure it's valid for more than 6 months at least. I would say go ahead and make sure that it's at least valid for a year, but you can make sure that that it's not going to expire anytime soon. So some of the documents that you will need are, employment letter, right? You're working in your place of residence before coming to Canada. Make sure you are. That's the strongest reason, right? One of the strongest reasons, I should say. So provide employment letters from your employer, pay slips, pay stubs, contractual agreements, promotions, the fact that you're working on, the fact that you can show tax documents, maybe anything that solidifies your case, and anything that would solidify, anything that shows that you are actually working with your employer for a long period of time, can really help your case in applying for a visit visa in Canada. Some other ways you can show strong home ties to your country or place of residence before applying for a visit visa to Canada would be family ties, right? Family members, your parents, your brothers and sisters. That's the strongest proof that that you will be going back to your place of residence after you're done with your visit in Canada, because the Canadian immigration officer needs to be convinced that you will leave Canada once your visit is done, that you're not going to overstay. So what you can do is to make sure that show your family ties. If you have any properties, or if you have any lease agreements under your name, provide that. That can help your case as well, because immigration officers love to see more documentation that solidify your case, and that will help them making the decision to grant you or not grant you a visa in Canada. Once again, all the advice that I'm giving you in this particular vlog, guys, is not an expert advice, okay? I want everyone to remember that this is just my opinion. I'm giving you the process that I followed and my experience when I helped a family member apply for a visit visa to Canada. Everyone's experience is different. Make sure to get the services of a licensed consultant before you make any kind of important decision. Another thing that you have to ensure is to make sure that you convince your immigration officer or any immigration officer the fact that you will leave Canada once you are done with your visit visa. And the way to do that is, again, to ensure home ties. The way to do that is to ensure that you have stronger connections, and there's a lot of ways you can prove that, but the most important ways are employment, family ties, residence, properties under your name, and so on and so forth. And finally, last but not the least, make sure you're carrying enough money, show enough financial assets so that the immigration officer is convinced that you can manage all expenses of being in Canada while you're here. Remember, there's two ways of doing this. You can also show that the family members that are already in Canada that you're visiting, they'll be responsible for the expenses that you incur during your visit. But I would suggest, and this is just my opinion, is that you show assets on your end as well, that you will manage the financial expenses when you're here, because that just strengthens your case, right? So if you're applying for a visit visa and you are visiting a family member in Canada, and if you're showing your own bank statements or your own assets, financial assets, that really strengthens your case, and make sure that you show how much amount you need to show while you're applying for a visit visa. Well, it just depends. There is no standard amount from what I can tell. It just depends. Do some basic calculations, right? Multiply the hotels, check out booking.coms, check out the hotel rates, multiply that by the amount of days that you will be staying in Canada, and add food expenses on top of that. Ask your family members that are already in Canada what are their expenses, and then maybe triple that and quadruple that for your calculation. That's just what I did. So at least showing around again, it varies, but if you're showing at least the higher the amount, the better it is. So I don't want to give a number. So but if you can use those calculations in your estimate, that should help you. For my family member that's visiting us in Canada, we decided to show for a 1 month stay around $6,000 to $10,000. Now, yeah, it's a big range, and I was pushing my family member to show at least $10,000 for a month, just to sort of make sure that they get the visa, right? That they the higher the amount, the more it strengthens your case that you can manage your expenses while you're in Canada. Because remember, Canada is not cheap. It's quite expensive. Hotels are expensive. Going around in Canada is expensive. Even the food that you get here is expensive. So make sure to show a higher than required amount when you're presenting your visit visa application to Canada. So last but not least, check out the link and it will give you an exact list of all the documents that you need. There's also one more document that I forgot to mention, and that is the letter of invitation. So if you're visiting a family member, okay, you can get a letter of invitation from them that they can make, showing that you are being invited by your family member to visit Canada, and you can include that in your application. It's a letter that is written by a family member in Canada, and I'm looking at my notes. It sort of confirms the purpose of your visit to Canada. So the letter of invitation, it is required. It says that on the Canada website that it is not required, it's optional. But I would say that if you're applying to visit a family member, include the letter of invitation. Now, you might not need the letter of invitation if you're just coming here on tourism visit. You might need other documents such as your hotel stay, the itinerary where you will be traveling, itinerary that you'll be traveling, all the places that you'll be visiting in this cool and beautiful country of Canada, those excursions you'll be doing, the Niagara trip that you'll be going to. You can include that as supporting documents. I'm looking at some other documents that are included in your application that you'll need for your visit visa, or it's also called a temporary residence visa, TRV. That's also a term used for a visit visa in Canada. You will need to provide your travel history in your visa application. You'll need to provide an itinerary. You'll need to provide an account statement, a bank statement. Make sure it's on official letterhead from the bank as well. You'll need to provide your employer information, and you'll need to provide make sure that your documents are, no earlier than 3 months before you apply. It just helps your case as well. And make sure to provide your identity documents such as your passport, your birth certificate, and so on and so forth. And there's a couple of other forms that are given out here on the Canada website. Make sure to check out the official Government of Canada website. That's the best resource and the best way to apply for your to start preparing for your visit visa application, for your temporary residence visa application to Canada, and that should help you out. So there you go, everyone. I hope you found this vlog insightful, educational, and useful. And I hope that when you're visiting Canada, the process goes smoothly, that you're able to visit this wonderful country and see for your own how beautiful it is and what people, what are the experiences of people living in Canada. Talk to people, talk to Canadians. We're a friendly bunch, and I know it's a tough time right now in general, all around the world with inflation, but Canadians are known for their niceness and for saying sorry, and for saying sorry a lot. And you will notice that about Canada, and hospitality will be evident and on display when you're visiting Canada. So come on down to Canada for a visit and enjoy this beautiful country. And I hope you found this vlog very, very educational. Until next time, bye-bye from Canada.ca. Keep on trekking. Oh, hey guys, if you are new to this channel, remember, I make vlogs about life in Canada, about my own lifestyle in Canada, and about travel, or about the travel adventures that I go through, not just in Canada, but all around the world. So I try to give you a perspective of this beautiful planet from my eyes, and that generally includes things such as reviews about a certain place that I'm living in, and so on and so forth. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and join me on this wonderful travel adventure on this beautiful planet Earth of ours, on this beautiful planet Earth of ours, together. My lips are a bit dry, so I need to get some water so that I can speak a bit better. But again, subscribe to Canada.ca if you want to travel